What's up, everybody, and welcome to the first official video of Phantom of the Highway. This is a new channel, and not at all like I planned on this going. We planned on starting this video with a trip that I actually made coming out of Arkansas and going around some other places, but something came up this past weekend that I ended up videoing that I thought was a little bit more useful, and you're going to see that right there. I had to clean out my EGR valve. Now, I have a 2009 Peterbilt 389 with the CM871 Cummins. It's ISX, it's red, whatever. It's a red engine. I'm not a mechanic by any means, so let's go ahead and get that disclaimer out there right here, right now. I typically look to YouTube videos or anything like that to try and figure out things like this. But I really didn't see anyone physically cleaning any of the items that they talked about. Now, I didn't video cleaning out the pipes, if you will, the venturi and the intake. That was real simple. Carbon choke cleaner, spray it out, get the deposit side of it, wipe it out, whatever, put it back together. You're good to go. It's pretty self-explanatory. But when it came down to the EGR valve itself, when I was looking inside of it, part of me said, all right, you need to take that off, you need to clean it. The other part of me, the non-mechanic side of me, says, you don't know what the hell you're doing. Don't do this. You're going to tear your truck up, and then your way that you make income is gone. I'm going to be down for a good while, which is a crappy week this week anyways, which is why we're posting a video instead of driving down the road. I digress. But I couldn't find anything where someone was physically cleaning it. So I decided, well, let's do that. All right, actually, let me back up. My first thought was, holy crap, I'm going to have to buy a new EGR valve. And then I looked them up, and they ranged anywhere from $700 to $1,200, depending on what website you found. So I decided to take it off. It wasn't the easiest process, wasn't the hardest process. A little bit hard to get some of the bolts, but you kind of figure that out as you go. But that's not what I'm here to talk about anyways, how to get it on and off. What I'm talking about now in the videos that I'm going to show you is two different videos, and I would have just played those, but the audio is like bad screwed. So, took the EGR valve off, looked at it, and now we realized, hey, carb cleaner's not going to do this. We got to come up with something else. So we went to Lowe's and bought a few things. I even brought my gun cleaning kit up. Because I have some pretty decent little brushes and stuff like that. But anyhow, let's get into it. Let's get this first video going. We're going to play this one. And of course, listen, I've got the head rig on. I look full blown out there. Okay. So that's the EGR valve itself. That's me dropping it, getting some things in it. The black thing you see my left hand on, that's the actuator itself. That's the electrical component in the EGR. And again, not a mechanic, so if I get any of this wrong, you know, sue me, right? But that's where your actual electronic connection clicks in. Now, what I'm showing right there, that's the actual valve that's in the bottom of the EGR valve body. What you see, the big green part, that's actually just the valve body. But the actuator inside of it, there's a little plunger that goes up and down, for lack of a technical term, and opens up the exhaust gas recirculation valve, which is what EGR is, best of my understanding. And if it's not free and clear, then nothing else you're going to do is going to do any good. So one thing I didn't show in the video that I ended up doing later is actually taking that off, making sure that plunger feels pretty good. Did it kind of slow, kind of nice and easy, made sure I didn't feel a lot of restriction. Felt probably a little bit in there, but as I moved it, I also felt like that I freed it up. So maybe that's going to help. Right here, I'm just taking a wire wheel that I picked up at Lowe's, and I'm trying to get the deposits to clean up from the EGR valve body itself. It was really, really bad the day before I shot this video. That's why I was kind of freaked out about it. And to be honest, I wasn't real keen on the idea of, hey, let's clean it. I really thought I was going to have to replace that. So what I'm trying to rectify here is an issue that I was having with my fuel mileage, and everything that I read about the Cummins engine that I have kind of went back to, hey, check your EGR valve, check your EGR system, all of that. If any of you own a Cummins engines, you've probably run across a post from Rawls or a video that he's done, and it's very informative. Got some really good stuff in there, and that's where a lot of this came from. But I couldn't ever find anyone actually cleaning it. So, and again, this may be wrong. I may not be doing this right at all. But logically speaking, this is all I could really come up with. I wanted to make something happen to where I could get these deposits out of there. And like I say, it looks pretty rough. as you're going through there, it also looks like there's a little rust in there. I'm not really sure how that happens. Again, I'm not a mechanic. I don't know how the components work. I don't know what actually goes through there other than gases. I don't know if there's a potential for coolant or any other liquid. Is it just condensation from the hot and the cold? I'm not real sure. If anybody knows, feel free to comment down below. Anything that can be beneficial to help somebody else out in this process, that's great. If it's some jackassery, hey, just leave it out of there. You know, trying to make this as informative as possible, but without it being too serious, because again, I really don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just giving some ideas here. You can see all the stuff that just pours out of it, and man, it's disgusting. I think right in here, I'm gonna kind of pan in, yeah. So you can see the valve right there. You can see that it still needs some work. I'm actually in just a second gonna put a different brush attachment on it, and it's gonna get down in there a little bit better. I'm actually showing the very bottom. I did not take that apart because I didn't know 100% if there was a high pressure spring or anything in there. I didn't want it to fly off into the woods and then I can't find it, and then I'm screwed. But you can see that's just a cheap pack of wire wheels and stuff that I bought at Lowe's. You don't have to get it at Lowe's. I'm sure you can get it anywhere, any type of a home improvement store, Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace, Tractor Supply probably has something like that. Hell, Walmart probably carries something like that as well. But I actually found this one to be pretty useful. I was able to get down in there a little bit better than with just the wheel, but the wheel did a really fantastic job getting around the edges and stuff like that. But when it came down to getting around that valve stem and around the valve itself, I found that this brush and part of my gun cleaning kit came in handy as well. I actually took it out and used part of the brush and cleaned really good. I want to make sure there was no deposits around the edge of that valve or anything of that nature that could impede it from opening, closing, or just all around functioning properly. So that's what we did. Again, I remind people, not a mechanic. I don't know that this is right. Okay. I'm just showing that I did it. This is how I did it. And for all intents and purposes, it seems to have worked. It's still functioning properly. I haven't taken it on a long trip to where I can really measure out my fuel mileage to see what benefit that I've gotten from it. At this point, I'm probably explaining that this is not the original EGR valve that was on this truck. To my understanding, they are green to begin with, but when they paint them, they just paint the outside of the components. So on one side of it, it still would have been green, but this whole thing is green. Nobody bothered to try to camouflage it, if you will, and paint it red like the rest of the motor or anything. So I'm assuming that this is at least the second EGR valve that's been on this truck. I know this truck has went through one, possibly two turbos. And again, I don't know if that had anything to do with any of this, but I do know that it's had some work done to it. Some pretty bad work too. We'll get into that story some other time, but I've had my fair share of troubles with this truck, and I'm really trying to get it back to its glory, I guess. Maybe. I'm not really sure if that's the word I'm looking for. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit here because I want to get a little bit more in here to where you can actually see the valve. All I'm doing right here is I'm just brushing away a little bit more. Super, super boring. Nothing cool to watch. Should be getting the gun kit out. Yeah, there we go. Got that. And let's see here. There we go. That's the brush attachment we're looking for. And we're actually going to take that, and you'll see I actually get right on top of the valve, and I'm just trying to clean around that edge. Just doing the best that I can with what I've got. Not that the brush attachment didn't seem like it was doing the job, but I really wanted to get in there and get it as clean as I possibly could. So we've got that. Pardon me if you hear any vibrating. My phone's going off because I'm bad at this, and I didn't mute my phone. So we got that, and now here's the second part of it. If I can get it going, let's see here. Let's hit play on it. Again, I've got the rig on. I'm working working the camera here. So I'm gonna take the blower, and I'm just trying to get it as cleaned out as possible. I don't know why it's sketching like that, guys. Bear with me. Nothing really major to see right here, but again, I am just kind of cleaning it out. And you can see when you start to blow all that soot out of there, and again, even rust residue, it looks like, that you can see everything way, way better. Super, super clean. It looks a ton better than what it did the day prior, and even when I got started on it this morning. So all in all, I felt like we did an okay job. So that's pretty much it. I went back and I cleaned on it a little bit more, and I blew it out a little bit more, and then once I made sure that everything was wiped clean, made sure all my gaskets and stuff were in place, I put it back on, got everything set up like I like it, got everything torqued down to spec, you know, just really tight. I probably should have went back over it with a torque wrench, and I probably will before I make another trip with it, but let it get hot, cool down and everything, and we'll go back and take a peek at it. But that's pretty much what we did with it. Any other issues with it, I'll say something about it down the road. Hey, don't ever do this again. You know, this was a horrible idea because of this. But other than that, I just wanted to share it because I didn't really find anything out there physically showing someone cleaning it. And this was my take on that, if you will. Some artistic liberties maybe. But it worked from what I can tell now. So, yeah, there's that. More videos to come. Definitely going to do some driving videos and stuff like that. But for those of you that found this useful, you're not new to YouTube. You know what people are going to ask you to do. So it'd be awesome if you would. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for watching the video. And again, I hope this is helpful to somebody. Till we meet again.